So, very good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon, children. Today, we are going to start our 10th class. 10th class paper 2, 10th class social paper 2, paper 2, 16th lesson, the election process in India. Okay, children. So, this is a very important lesson, children. If in future, if you deciding to take a CEC also, in your civics, in your political science, this topic will be dealt in deeply, children. So, election process in India. The question comes, children, why? Why are elections necessary in the country? So about the elections. Children, just remind, if we go to our history, what we find that before the British rule, before the independence, we find that there was a British rule in the country. And at the time of the British rule, children, we Indians were not free to select our own leaders. We were under the control of the British rule. Okay. Then before the British rule, what was the condition of India? So before the British rule, we find that we were under the control of kings and the queens, sultans, emperors. That time also, the kings or the queens or the sultans, they were elected or selected on their hereditary basis. As the king's son, prince will be only the next king, or the so on, the generation wise, the family hereditary was their children. That means we Indians, we didn't get the chance to select or elect our leaders. Okay. Then after the independence, what happened? When the constitution was written by Dr. Ambedkar, he mentioned in the constitution, one of the ideals of the constitution, children, as in the preamble also we get this word, that India is a democratic country. Democracy, a country that run by the people. It's a country, it's a government by the people, of the people and for the people, children. That means whole and soul, this is a type of the government, this is a type of the country where we find the people's wish is given the main priority. Then, about the elections. You know, children, elections are of two types. The elections are of two types. One is a direct election, another one is an indirect election. Direct election is possible, children, in those areas where we find there is a little population, where is the area of small population, so the people can gather in one place and they can select their leaders directly. And it was possible, children, it is possible, we can say it was possible in the ancient times when, especially in the Greek cities, children, where this elections process was started, children, in the Greek city, where the people, they used to gather in a place, in a big ground, and they used to elect or select their leaders directly. That we called as direct election. But this type of election is not possible in today's situation. And that to a country like India, where we find where the population is more, it's a populous country, second populous country of the world, children. So it is very difficult to conduct elections directly. So we follow the procedure of indirect election, that is election by the method of vote, by the method of voting system. So today in this lesson, we are going to discuss, children, about the election process in the country, the commission, the election commission that conducts the election, the process by which the election commission conducts the election in the country. Okay, so all these things we are going to discuss in this particular lesson, the election system in India. So let us discuss, children, about the election system. The first topic, children, is about the election system of in India. First topic is election system. Our election system, children. We have to discuss about our election system in India. So, as you all know that, children, that being a vast country, a very populous country, it is difficult to conduct a direct election. So, it is decided that election to be conducted in an indirect method, that is by the method of vote, by the method of voting system. And for this system, children, what happened? Election commission was appointed, was set up, children. So, what is this election commission? We have to discuss. It is nothing but this is a commission that conducts the election. It is a commission that conducts the election for whom, children? It conducts the election for, children, that frames what you call for the Lok Sabha, for the Rajya Sabha, for the president, for the vice president, for the state legislatures. It conducts the election. Then, what is the other work of election commission? This election commission, it frames the code of conduct. It frames the code of conduct, means some rules and regulation for the election. We'll discuss in deeply, children. Not only it frames a code of conduct, children, it conducts the election and then it declares the election. So for all these one, it is very important. Now we have to go in detail. We have to learn in detail about the election commission first. The commission that conducts the election. So our topic now, children, it is about the election commission of India. Election commission. Children, listen it very carefully about the election commission of India. Election commission. On 25th of January 1950. 25th of January 1950. Election commission was set up. 25th of January 1950. Election commission was set up. So, election commission we called as it is an autonomous constitutional body. Autonomous. Autonomous means self-governing. No one is governed children. No one is kept this commission under their control. It is an independent constitutional body. What is the work of this election commission then? Children, which year, children? 25th of January 1950. Election commission was set up. And by seeing this one, are you getting any idea? 25th of January, every year we celebrate as anything in something? Yes, children. 25th of January, because on this day, election commission was set up. So this day we celebrate as Voters' Day. 25th of January we celebrate as Voters' Day. You have to remember this one, children. Every year on 25th of January we celebrate. So from which year onwards we started celebrating? 2011 we celebrated our first Voters' Day. 2011, and then onwards, since that time onwards, we are celebrating this day as a Voters' Day. So what is the work of election commission? So election commission, children, the first important work of this election commission, children, it prepares the electoral rolls. Electoral rolls. About that also we'll discuss, children, in the coming discussion. It prepares the electoral rolls. Electoral rolls means in the country, those who completed the 18 years of age, it finds out those persons and then entered their names in the register, that yes, now they are the members who are eligible to give the votes. Electoral rolls. Okay, that is the first work. Then it conducts the election. For what election I said, children? It conducts the election for, yes, for what, children? For the Lok Sabha, for the Rajya Sabha, for the state legislative bodies, for the council and for the assembly, president and vice president. The election commission conducts the election, children. Okay, then what happened before the Britishers? At the time of British rule, children, what happened? At the time of British rule, when the Britishers were ruling, children, only 14% of Indians, we were having the right to cast our vote. Only 14%. But now, what we find after the independence, we find in the year 1952, first general elections were conducted. In an independent country, first general elections were conducted, and in that elections nearly we find that 17.3 crores 17.3 crores members, they cast their vote. That means in the first general elections only we had 17.3 crores of the voters, children. When 1952. Now, at present, if we check it, we find that the population increased. So, at present, we find nearly 67 crores. At present, we find nearly 67 crores. 67 crores, children. 67 crores we find they are the eligible voters in the country. So to conduct the election for the 67 crores children, we require nearly 45 lakh of staff. 45 lakh staff to conduct the election for the 67 crores of the people. Now, from where the election commission will take up. So, 45 lakhs of staff is not available with the election commission. So, election commission, according to the article 324, according to the article 324(6), election commission is having the right, with the permission of President of India and with the permission of governors of the state, election commission, according to this article, what they can do, children? They can recruit, they can appoint central government and state government, employees. Central government and state government employees to do the election commission work at the time of election. So, in this one we find that according to this article, now election commission gets the complete rights over these staff. Okay, they can give them rules and regulation, and even if suppose these staff they do some mistake, they have the right to take action if there is some mistake in the election procedure. Okay, children. So this we can say as children the election commission work. Okay, the election commission work. Now, the important position of election commission. We have to discuss now, children, about the person, election commissioner. About the election commissioner. So our next topic, children, it is about election commissioner. We have to discuss about election commissioner and his work. Okay. So, election commissioner. Election commissioner. Who is he? He is the head of election commission. Okay. He is the head of election commission. Who? Election commissioner. He is the head of election commission of India. He is the head of election commission of India. What this person he do it? This person, he is having power to conduct. This person, he conducts the elections. Okay, at the central level, at the state level, with the help of the staff, with the help of the government staff. Central level, that is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. State level, that is council and the legislative assemblies. Beside this, they are responsible for the election of president and vice president also. Now, who can be a person who can be an election commissioner? Whether everyone who is qualified can be called, can be appointed as election commissioner? No, children. The person, he should be at the, he should be a ICS officer. He should be in the service of Indian Civil Service. The first qualification for this person is, the person, he should be in the Indian Civil Service. Okay. And then followed by, what is the time period? The person should be in the service of Indian Civil Service, and the time period for the election commissioner is 6 years, or if he is very close to the retirement, 65 years of age. Anything. Okay, this is the time period of election commissioner. For what happened, children, earlier, we find that there was only one member in the election commissioner. But later, what happened? In the year 1993, 3 members were turned as the election commissioner, were turned as a member of election commissioner. 3 members. Out of these 3 members, one is the chief election commissioner, remaining 2 are the election commissioner. Okay, one is the chief election commissioner, the 2 are the election commissioner. So this is the work of election commissioner. Okay, is it clear, children? So this is about the election commissioner. Election commissioner, his time period is 6 years, or at least 65 years when he attains to the age of 65 years of age. Then next one, he should be an ICS officer, Indian Civil Service officer. And earlier there was only one election commissioner was there, but now there are 3 commissioners are there. But out of these 3, one is chief election commissioner and the 2 are election commissioner. Okay. Now, what else? Children, you heard that the people, what we can say, that the people who do the work with very honestly, their names remembered for a long. Like that, one of the election commissioner was there by the name T.N. Session. Okay, one of the election commissioner was there by the name T.N. Session. T.N. Session. T.N. Session, this person, his work time period was from 1990 to 1996. The time period of T.N. Session, 1990 to 1996. Why we are discussing about this person? T.N. Session, he is very famous for all his good works. This was a person, he recommended certain recommendations. Recommendations, and he earned very popularity, children. This was a person, he did all his efforts to control the corruptions in the elections. So T.N. Session, he recommended few points. What should be there at the time of elections? His recommendation that are very famous, and you can find in your textbook in a box also. Okay, so T.N. Session recommendations. What are the recommendations, children? The first recommendation of T.N. Session that 14 days of campaigning should be there. Children, as soon as what happened, the election process will discuss in administrative functions, children. As soon as the election commission, they give some time that, okay, this is the time of the nomination, and then afterwards, if anyone wants to withdraw from the nomination, after the declaration that yes, the withdrawal of nomination means those who want to come out of this nominations, after that, the leftover the candidates in the election, okay, the standing candidates in the election, they get the time only to campaign for 14 days. That means a candidate who is contesting for the election can campaign for only 14 days. That is the first recommendation. Second recommendation, children, is that one candidate, second recommendation is one candidate will not contest from the two constituencies at the same time. Should not stand as a candidate from the two different constituencies. The second one is one candidate should not contest from more than two constituencies. Now, you will get the doubt, what is constituency? Constituency means the area from where these people, they stand. They should not contest from more than two constituencies. The second one. The third recommendation, children, is that if any candidate is punished for 2 years, suppose if any candidate is found guilty for some of the illegal practices and some other things, children, and if he get a punishment for 2 years, that means the person is barred. He is not allowed to contest the election for the next 6 years. He cannot contest any election for 6 years if he gets the 2 years of punishment. That is the third one. If any candidate they get punishment of 2 years, 2 years punishment. Okay, so that type of candidate is barred, means not allowed. That type of candidate is not allowed to contest election for next 6 years. For the contest election for the next 6 years. Beside this, what are the other recommendation? The other recommendation is that if at the time of contesting election any candidate dies, okay, if any candidate dies, expires, so in that case election will not be abolished. It will just postponed for some time. Election will be postponed in case of the death of any candidate. And the last one it is, children, that is the what we call ban of liquor. Ban of liquor when, children, as the campaign process completes, before the 48 hours of the election, campaigning will be stopped. Okay, so after the campaigning, for 48 hours, next 48 hours, the liquor should be banned. That means these candidates, they should not, lure, they should not attract the voters for the sake of liquor. These are the recommendations, children, of election commissioner Election Commissioner, TN session. What are those, children? The first one, 14 days of campaigning. Next, second one, if candidates should, that one candidate should not be contest from the more than 2 constituencies. Third one, if any candidate is found guilty, is punished for 2 years, he is barred from the election for 6 years. Number fourth one, children, it is that if candidate dies, the election will be postponed but not abolished. And the last one, that is after the campaigning, 48 hours of ban on the liquor. So these are the recommendations of TN sessions. Okay, so after all these recommendations of TN session, children, our next topic, children, it is about the functions of Election Commission. Okay, we have to discuss now, children, about the functions of Election Commission. So, Article 324, Article 324 to Article 329 in Part 15 of Constitution, we get, children, all the functions of the Election Commission, where we find the formation of Election Commission, powers of Election Commission will be there, children, in that one, and the function of Election Commission will be there. Okay, at the time when the Constitution was framed, children, the age of vote, it was 21 years. But in the year 1988, in the 61st Amendment of the Constitution, the age of vote is reduced to 18 years. Now we are following that only, children, 18 years of voting age. So let us discuss the functions. The functions of Election Commission. What are the functions? There are 3 functions are there. These are the 3 functions: administrative functions, advisory functions, and the quasi-judicial functions. Children, for 10th class, this is an important question now. Functions are 1 or 2 times it was asked to children in the board examination to explain about these functions of the Election Commission. So these are very important one. You have to listen it very, very carefully. Okay, so let us discuss first with the administrative functions of Election Commission. Okay, so we have to discuss now one by one. Listen my words carefully. What I am going to tell about all the administrative functions. The first one. The first function of Election Commission is, the first one, children, is prepares electoral roll. First function is preparing electoral roll. What is this electoral roll? Electoral roll is nothing but, children, to like that in our attendance registers we are having the children roll numbers. So like that same we find that in the Election Commission electoral rolls will be there, means the name of the people, common people, voters list, what we say, are prepared, children, those who completed the age of 18 years. Okay, for example, in the previous election, when was it conducted in our state, 2018 and 19, that time before the election, this electoral roll was prepared by Election Commission. That means it's nothing but those who completed 18 years of age, they are giving the chance to cast their vote. Their name will be entered in the voters list. Okay, that means what does it mean? That 18 and 19 the names are entered. But now again the next election will be in 2023, 22 or 23. At the time, in this 5 years of time period, many youngsters will cross the age of 18. So their names should be entered in the new list. So first work is preparation of electoral rolls. Then the second work, children, it is the what we can say as revising. Means again we have to, this Election Commission will write, revises the list. Again, if any new voters are joined, the names will be mentioned in the electoral rolls. That is the second work. Okay. the population, those who completed the 18 years of age, their names are entered in the voters list. Okay, voters list is prepared. Now, what is the next work after the voters list? Demarcation. Means according to the population, constituencies will be formed. So areas will be separated. In an area, different areas will be formed, children. That this is one constituency, from there these many people are there. So according to the population, these many people can stand for the election. Like that, constituencies will be formed. Okay, so the third work is formation of constituencies, demarcation. Okay, demarcation of constituency on what basis, children? On the basis of population of the particular area. Next, after this one, children, what is the next work? Okay, constituencies. Constituencies are formed. After the constituencies, children, the next work is announcement of the schedule of elections. Now, they are ready now, children. So, now they are going to announce the schedule of elections. That is, they'll announce the schedule of elections. Okay, that schedule means what, children? So and so date, so and so month, election will conduct in so and so places. The dates, they'll release it. Okay, that is a schedule for elections. Then, elections schedule is released. What is the next work? Next work is they invite nominations. Nominations. Those who want to contest for elections, those candidates can come and they can submit a form. That form of nominate, that they want to nominate themselves for the election. Nominations, children. They can fill a form, children. The qualifications, their any illegal, whether they were punished, they were in prison before, their complete record, children, and then followed by all the records, children, that will be there in that, the property also, everything they have to mention in that nominations. So, after this one, children, nominations. Okay, nominations are invited. Nominations. Then, after the nominations, what happened, children? What is the work of Election Commission? The date of nomination, that from this date to this date, the people are free to, they can come and they can nominate their names. They can submit the form, application of nomination. Then, now Election Commission, they'll start scrutinizing, means checking. They'll check compulsory whether these many people, those who gave their applications, whether all are eligible for the elections, whether all the records are clear, without any illegal activities are involved or not, they got any punishments or not, everything about the property records, about everything, children. So that we call as checking, correction, scrutinization. That work we call as scrutinization. So what we'll do, we'll write the work, the next one here from here onwards. That is from the 6th onwards. That is scrutinization. Scrutinization. Scrutinization of what, children? Nomination. They'll check each and everything. And then after scrutinization, what happened? They'll declare the final list. Okay. So next one is, children, after scrutinization, children, the next one is the final list. Final list is declared. They declare that yes, these nominees, these people are found free from all the illegal things, found correct, their applications are correct, their details are correct. So yes, they can stand for the election. So final list is prepared. But still, much of the work is there, children. After this one, children, then the polling dates. Then after this one, polling dates. Polling dates will be finalized. What will be the polling dates will be there in that particular area. Polling dates will be finalized, children. After the polling dates, now it is the candidates. If a candidate wants to stand from any political party, they'll get a political party symbol. And there are many candidates are there, those who not belong to any political party, they stand independently. So to those candidates, now it is the duty of Election Commission to give them symbols. To give them symbols. That is allotment of symbols. Next work is allotment of symbols. Allotment of symbols is the next work that we find it here. allotment of symbols. Okay, symbols are given. Party people, they'll get party symbol. Independent candidate, they'll get the independent symbol. Then after this one, children, what happened? These symbol allotted. Now they have to give certain rules and regulation to these candidates. So the next one, children, the 10th one is code of conduct. The next one is code of conduct. Code of conduct means rules and regulations to the candidates and to the political parties, what they have to follow before, during and after the elections. That are called as code of conduct. That is a code of conduct. And then, children, then they appoint certain officers to look after the complete election procedure. Certain observers. So appointment of an enquiry officer. Last one is appointment of enquiry officers to look after how the elections are conducted. So these are all called as, children, the administrative functions of election commission. It's very important one. So it's very good one, children, to remember it. It's just like a series. What are the series, children? Preparation of electoral rolls. Number 1. Revise that electoral list, because in there's a gap between one election to other election. Many people, many youngsters, they'll come to the age of voting age. So the names to be entered in the voters list. That is second one. The third one, children, that is demarcation of constituencies. Constituencies are formed. After the demarcation of constituencies, children, the schedule of elections will be declared when the elections are going to conduct. Then nominations of the candidates are invited. After the nominations, scrutinization means checking the applications. Then after checking, displaying the final list. Yes, these candidates are eligible for the elections. They can stand for the elections. Then after that one, children, final list. Then polling dates will be announced. Then symbols will be given, children. And then afterwards, children, we find that final list and then symbols. And then, children, we find that the code of conduct will be given. So these are all called as, children, the advisory functions of the election commission. This is very, very important question, children. So after this administrative functions, children, next two functions are very small. What is the second function, children? Second function is advisory function. Second function is advisory function of the election commission. Advice. Simply we can understand that this is an advice giving function. What is this one, children? It's advise. Election commission advise president. It advise president. It advise the president of the India, president of the country, president and the governors of the state. And the governors of the state governors. What they advise? They advise regarding the disqualifications of the representatives of the state and the central legislatures. Okay. It advised to the president and the governors regarding the disqualifications, that which are the candidate, those who stands for the central legislature, that is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and also those who stands for the state legislature, that is that is assembly and the council. If any candidates they find something guilty, so to disqualify that person. Okay. Sometime what happens, children? Some of the candidates they go for malpractices. Malpractices means distributing the liquor, giving the money, giving some gifts, like the promising that they'll get so and so things after the elections. All these one comes under the malpractices. Any candidate who are not following the rules and regulations and they comes under malpractices, to such malpractice candidates, this election commission they advise to the president and the governors to disqualify certain types of candidates. This is called as the advisory function. And what is the last function? The last function is quasi-judicial function. Quasi means half. It is also taking the work of judiciary. Judgment. Judgment on whom? It is not a court. It is not a court, but now it is doing the work of quasi, half judicial function. Means if it is found that any candidate they did some malpractices in the election, they did certain malpractices, some cheatings, corruptions in the election, now the election commission is having the right to punish them. To punish them. Okay, by making them disqualified or by one or the other means. So we can say that suppose sometime a party is declared win. Okay, but later after the election it was found that no, they did certain cheatings. So the election commission look after that one and then they punish. And again they can give the what you call the re-election orders also, that the elections were conducted on some cheating basis. Like it tries to solve the disputes from one parties to the other parties also. So these are all called as children the functions of election commission. That is very important from the examination point of view. Children, you have to pay concentration. Children, you have to pay concentration. Okay, so now after all this one what we have to discuss? We have to discuss, children, about one word. In every examination, sometimes you will get 1 mark question. What is electorate? What is electorate? Electorate is nothing but body of voters. Body of voters we call as, means common people we call as electorates, children. Who are electorates? Electorates are the body of voters. So election, children, on what are the, this is a word you learn number of times, that is called as universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise. What is this universal? Universal, it means that any person in the country who attained the age of 18 is eligible to cast their vote without any discrimination. At the time of vote, no, sex should not be taken, children, into the consideration, religion, what we call the caste, creed, whatever it is there. All these things will not be taken into consideration. That is called universal, free from all the discussions. Universal, adult, 18 years of age, franchise, right to vote. That means anyone who attained the age of 18 is having the right to cast their vote in the country, called as universal adult franchise. I hope it is clear to you. Universal adult franchise, the right to vote at the age of 18 without any discrimination, that is called as universal adult franchise. So I hope up to here it is clear to you, children. I divided this lesson because lesson is very big. So I divided this lesson into 2 parts. The second parts will discuss about all the code of conduct, political parties, malpractices and all the other things, children. So I hope today's part is clear to all of you. Your work is the same, children. Go through the textbook. Read the textbook, children, line by line. Go through the textbook. It is very important. And those who want to take CEC in the inter-level also, children, for them civics is a very important part of civics, children. And as a citizen of our country, we should know, children, about election procedure, because you are the next person who is going to cast a vote in the next election. You will attend the 18 years in the next coming elections, children. So go through this one, try to understand it. If you have any other sources, go through that sources, children. And if any doubt you'll get, call me, children. And by that time, it's now it's a time to take leave. Thank you one and all. Thank you, children.